It is Texas and Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. If you're listening live, this is the first edition of a Saturday recap that is live on the Locked On Big 12 YouTube channel. You could be listening to this afterwards as well, both in podcast form or on YouTube. Texas, Oklahoma State, who wins the ball game? Let's be very, very clear here. Not only should Texas win this game, they should win this game by 14 million points. It shouldn't be close because the Texas run defense is so stout that you force a quarterback to throw. What did we just see from Baron Morton, who I think is a more dynamic quarterback than Alan Bowman, who can do more than Alan Bowman? We just watched Baron Morton completely crap the bed against the University of Texas Longhorns. And for Alan Bowman, he's a guy that is not going to run the football. Get ready for this. Alan Bowman's last 4 games, I'll give you 5 games rushing. Against BYU, 3 carries, -10 yards. Remember, sack supply. Houston, no carries, no yards, which is a bright spot here. Against UCF, 2 carries, -10 yards. Against Oklahoma, 1 carry for 13 yards, career day. And against Cincinnati, 2 carries for 9 yards. Alan Bowman is not going to leave the pocket. Texas is going to stop the run game. Texas is going to stop Ollie Gordon. He is the most electric back in the Big 12. 5 rushing touchdowns against BYU. He may still go for 150 yards in this game, and it might not matter because the Texas defense is going to limit the rest of everybody. They're going to limit Alan Bowman because he already can't run. And when you're not dynamic enough to get somebody else involved heavily in the run game, like your quarterback, that's when the Longhorns can expose you. And while their pass defense is susceptible, Rocco Bechtad, I think like 330 yards passing against Texas or pushing 350. While you're susceptible there, I don't think that Alan Bowman can have the kind of performance that Rocco Becht did against Texas and lead Oklahoma State to a win. But if he does, and that's kind of what I'm leaning on here. If he does, how great would it be? There are no stakes for Oklahoma State. We can create stakes of, this could help it could establish you as one of the big players in the future Big 12. For Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship, this could give you a leg up moving forward in recruiting, and you show, hey, we can be the kings of this conference. We have the longest tenured head coach in Mike Gundy. He gets his first Big 12 championship game win. But really, the glory is in beating Texas. That's what the stakes are. For UT, they've gone 15 years since winning a Big 12 championship. That's a long stretch for a university that wants you to think they are the best team in this league. We went to a round-robin format. We went into there are no easy schedules. It's not, this team got lucky or Texas got an easy schedule or somebody else got an easy schedule. It's been a round-robin format for the last decade. And still, Texas couldn't do anything. Now, they're in the top 7 in the country. They'll be in the conversation, obviously, for the college football playoff. They have a road win against Alabama. That Oklahoma loss, up there, that's the stinger keeping them squarely out of the college football playoff right now. But with a win against Oklahoma State, especially in dominant fashion, they make a strong case. If a couple of the right pieces fall, to do it, to go to the Final Four here. That's huge. For one university, you're playing for a national championship. This is a play-in for the college football playoff. For another, you get to be the ultimate spoiler. That's what Oklahoma State gets to play. Mike Gundy's team was, 4 or 5 inches away from a Big 12 championship in 2021. There are still enough of those guys, some of those guys that are hanging around this program from that era that can describe the pain felt when Baylor didn't have a quarterback in the second half of that game. And still, Oklahoma State went out there and found a way to lose. They lost to South Alabama. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it shows you where they came from this season. Winning the Big 12 championship puts you in a great position, but all the pressure in the world is on Texas. And now this game is going to be decided in the trenches. Ollie Gordon II, he is going to have to be lights out. And I told you he might get 150, and that's Texas containing him because it's what he does. He needs to have 200-plus rushing yards. And Alan Bowman has to be the perfect complement through the air. Where Texas lacks right now, is their secondary, which isn't a bad secondary. It's just the least elite part of their team, if you're picking up what I'm saying here. their defensive front, their interior especially, is unbelievable. It's stupid good. They hold opponents to 85 rushing yards per game. That is good enough for third in the nation. What does Oklahoma State want to do? They want to run the football. Oh. Now, look, remember that Oklahoma State game last year? That one in Stillwater, final score 41-34. I have the box score pulled up right in front of me because that's what I'm going to reference a whole lot this week. That felt like a game Oklahoma State should not have been in. Little did they do, little you know, they're going to come back and win. It was Quinn Ewers kind of crapped himself and said, you know what? I don't know if I'm ready for all this madness. Goes into Stillwater and loses. I don't believe Oklahoma State had any business winning that game against a Texas team that had those kind of slip-ups last year. They've been much more consistent this year, but I just need them for 1 week to not be consistent. And if you're a Texas fan or somebody who's if you're for some reason a Big 12 fan or a fan of another Big 12 team and you have a soft spot for Texas, I'm sorry, you're going to think, oh, this guy, Texas lives in this guy's head rent-free. Yes, 100%. I mean, why wouldn't they? They're leaving our conference. On paper, in actuality, the way Texas has played, I can almost guarantee you UT will win against Oklahoma State by 17 or more points. But let's hold on to hope. I'm going to keep giving you hope over the course of the rest of this week. There are some guys in this league that do not have hope. The college coaching carousel is upon us. Who is going to lose their job? Because there are a couple on the Big 12 we need to have a conversation about. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is where I go to make money. I consider it my passive income. FanDuel.com/locked on is where you need to go to make money as well. Look, I go in, I say, hey, FanDuel, I don't think that Kansas State's going to beat Iowa State by 10. And that's when I throw $50 or $10 or $20 on Iowa State to cover 10. Then they win it outright. Feels good for me, right? Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. You go in, you put $5 on Texas or Oklahoma State to win this week, and you get $150 in free play. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is easy to use. Spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Go to FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com/locked on.